Masters of the Universe flops as Amazon spins post-theatrical strategy. I'm not gonna lie, this is like watching your friend go into an anime con. He hasn't showered in a month, and he's trying to pick up the local goth baddie gamer girl. You really wanted to succeed, but in your heart, you just know that there's no chance, and this is what it kind of felt like for this movie. I've heard pretty good things about it. I've seen pretty good things about it. It looks like a fun movie in general. But I'm not gonna lie, the marketing for this movie was absolute doggy doo doo. Even if I dumpster dived in my whole neighborhood, if I scoured every plane of existence, there's no advertisements for this movie. I would not find a single ad. I would go to YouTube, I wouldn't find anything. Even after the movie's been released for 2 weeks, I didn't even know it was released for 2 weeks. I haven't seen anything, and that's a shame because it seems like a pretty good movie, but you know, I don't know. Masters of the Universe, He-Man, it just really hasn't been relevant for quite some time. I really wanted it to succeed, but maybe in another universe, in an alternative universe where your friend got the goth baddie. Fortunately, in this universe, it just seems like it's not the case. Master of the Universe just flopped at the box office. Amazon doesn't seem all that worried about it. Amazon MGM Studios released Masters of the Universe in US theaters on June 5th, 2026, with a production budget reported between 170 million and 200 million. The film opened to 29.3 million domestic and 25 million from 86 overseas markets. Now, I'm no genius. I failed math class, but that's not pretty great numbers, unfortunately, totaling 54.3 million worldwide, against a break-even target north of 400 million. The opening came in second behind Scary Movie, 55 million opening, the franchise's best, apparently. Internationally, the film opened third in the UK behind Backrooms and Obsession, and I guess everyone loves those Backrooms and Obsession because that's the only thing I ever hear about. Those movies are doing insanely, I was about to say something else, insanely good, that it kind of just feels like He-Man never stood a chance. But it is what it is. Studio's public response has not matched the financial reality. Amazon MGM domestic distribution head Kevin Wilson issued a statement framing the opening as a very solid start, at least he's optimistic, and emphasizing the film's post-theatrical performance potential. Blu-ray pre-orders went live on Amazon ahead of the theatrical release. The actual numbers are bad. The opening weekend breakdown was front-loaded in a way that suggests word of mouth is not coming to rescue it. Thursday previews brought in 4.4 million. Friday closed at 11.75 million, including the previews. The full weekend landed at 29.3 million domestic, with a roughly 2.5 times weekend multiplier off Friday. Films that build during opening weekend typically have stronger Saturday, Sunday performance than Friday. Masters of the Universe did the opposite. The audience that wanted to see it showed up immediately. Almost no one else did. The kids demographic was the biggest miss. Only 4% of the opening night audience was under age 12, per industry data cited by Yahoo Entertainment. For a property whose entire reboot premise was getting a new generation of kids invested in He-Man, the number is structurally fatal. Kind of ironic that pretty much no kid almost wanted to see this movie, which it started as a kids show, I believe, so maybe just call it the times changing, kids on their phone. I don't know, maybe I'm unk, I just don't understand it. But as an adult that looks at He-Man, even I'm not that interested in the He-Man universe. It's just kind of meh. I've never really liked it, and to get a kid into it is going to be an even harder challenge. So this was definitely a movie for the fans, whatever fans there was, because He-Man, they've been picking up the scraps. As far as I believe, there was only like one animated show that came out a couple years ago, but that was pretty much it. Critics liked it, audience liked it, nobody went. Again, I assume this was a good movie. I've seen clips, I read the story synopsis. It seems like a good movie, way better than Mandalorian Grogu, which isn't a hard achievement, but it is. So The unusual aspect of the flop is that the film was not poorly reviewed. Masters of the Universe holds an 87% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics gave it solid reviews. Director Travis Knight made a film that the people who actually showed up generally enjoyed. The problem was getting people to the theater in the first place. Slash Film put it directly, the 170 million plus budget was a doomed enterprise in 2026. Looper added that budgets that would have been reasonable in 2017 or 2018 are a financial death sentence in 2026. Pretty much every Hollywood movie for some reason is just throwing money at movies expecting to get like double the amount. That's just not really the way it is anymore. Like movies like this, He-Man, it wasn't even going to be a big blockbuster in the first place. Again, it's just so niche. No shade to the He-Man fans, but that's just the way it is. If Star Wars is flopping, then I don't know Masters of the Universe even had a chance. So it's unfortunate, which is a shame because this is a good movie. So the comparison points are unflattering. Spider-Man Far From Home was made for $160 million. The original Transformers in 2007 cost $151 million. Both were established franchises with proven theatrical audience. I feel like if this movie was released like maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe it would have done better. But now in this economy and all that, people kind of just want like indie movies that have a story, a simple story like Backrooms. All you need to know is a meme, and that's pretty much it. For Obsession, it seems like a simple story enough. With He-Man, it's like you gotta know. You don't gotta know, but like you at least gotta know who He-Man is. Otherwise, you're just kind of watching a dude barely clothed beating up a skeleton guy. So Masters of the Universe was attempting to relaunch a brand most kids today have never engaged with. The 1980s nostalgia audience showed up. The next generation did not, and it seems Amazon is okay with this. We'll see what happens. The movie's gonna stream, and they're just gonna dump it at Amazon Prime, DVD releases and whatnot. So we'll see how well it actually does on streaming services and all that. Maybe buy it, support a good movie, I guess. 37 is a bit too much, but it is what it is. And it looks like it's not doing any better because on the second week it lost like 71% of, box office. I think Mandalorian Grogu was also around that same percentage. So it just kind of seems like if the movie isn't relevant, if people aren't talking about it, pretty much feed it to the wolves. It's not coming back up, unlike Backrooms or Obsession. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate to see. The latest live action feature film version of the 1980s toy line cartoon series. Week in frame of June 5th and June 7th, 29.4 million. Yeah, it's not making it back, unfortunately. It only got like 51 million right out of potentially 200 million. So it's a flop. It's unfortunate that it's a flop. But it is what it is. Maybe cut down on the spending. From what I see, there's a ton of CGI on this game. I was about to say game, movie, so it kind of just feels like Hollywood are throwing too much money at things and expecting it to get double the amount. Who knows? Hopefully they can figure it out. Maybe this is the end of Masters of the Universe He-Man. But we'll see. You never know. They might make a streaming show, probably. So I think that's about it. We really wanted this underdog movie to potentially garner something, but no one's talking about it. No one wants to interact with it. No one knows what He-Man is. That's just the way it is. If Star Wars dying is dying, then He-Man never really stood a chance, at least in my opinion. We'll see what Supergirl does. I don't have much expectations for that movie either, but also Toy Story is coming out like in a couple days too. Like this movie really stood no chance. It released at a really terrible time. 20 years too late, 20 years too soon. So see you later, Masters of the Universe. I hardly knew you. Anyway, that's about it. Take care.